Hello guys, I had actually just finished recording a video here, and it looks like my internet connection went out. It's actually fine, it's back now, network 6 connected, but you gotta know how to repair any problems that you have in a Windows computer. So you're gonna want to type in CMD. This is just what you do from the operating system, just in case it's EOS. There is some other things you can do, but we're just going to focus on this one right now. It could be malware, it could just be a network cable unplugged somewhere, it could be a modem or a router that needs to be restarted, but this is just a starting point for people. I recommend following the OSI model for this troubleshooting, because that's really what it's best at. The OSI model is a really good troubleshooter. So what you want to do is you want to open up an administrator command prompt like I just did there. You just want to type in CMD, right click, run as administrator. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't need to. So one of the first things I like to do is I like to just flush my DNS. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. ipconfig/flush DNS. There you go, it flushed the DNS resolver cache. One of the things I actually do really want to point out here is that if you are having troubles with your internet, one of the things that I highly recommend is taking something like Google DNS or OpenDNS. I personally use OpenDNS, just whatever's the best for you in your region. I mean, if you live out in an area that doesn't really have any nearby OpenDNS servers, then Google DNS would definitely be the way to go for you, or maybe even some other DNS provider, or you could just set up your own DNS server. But a lot of the times the ISPs actually don't update their DNS servers quite as much as a company like OpenDNS might. So I found that I was running into some pretty esoteric network attacks that ESET actually picked up, and the way that I resolved it was I switched to OpenDNS. And I flushed the DNS resolver cache. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to go to Network and Internet. There we go. You're going to want to go to Network and Sharing Center. And then you want to select Change Adapter Settings. This is in your control panel, by the way. So you're going to want to find your connection here. So this is the Spotflex Virtual Network Device driver. This one is currently disabled because I uninstalled it. Spotflex is just a VPN. This is the VMware Virtual Ethernet adapter. That would be like my virtual machines there. You don't need to worry about that. But you'll see something here called Local Area Connection. You may see more than one of them, but generally, it's going to look like this. One of the most common, connectors, or one of the most common network interface cards is the Realtek PCIe cards. So it's going to go here and you're going to select properties. There we go. So you're at your local area connection properties. You're going to want to go ahead. You're going to want to set Internet Protocol version 4 TCP IP v4. I'm going to want to select properties. And I'm not going to mess around with this because I don't want anyone selecting anything that they shouldn't select and screw stuff up. So this is for another video. I actually don't personally mess with this myself. I just use DHCP. DHCP basically automatically assigns you an IP address, so your router or your modem will do that. Maybe a router or modem combo. But actually I never even really bothered that much with this myself. So, just stick with DHCP, especially if you're a home user. If you are running a server or something like that, you may want to just go ahead and use the static IP. That would be ideal if you're running a server that was connecting to the internet. But if you're just a home user, just go ahead and use this. Here, just use the DHCP addresses that are automatically assigned to you. So you're going to want to use the following DNS server addresses here. So as you can see here, I have the OpenDNS server addresses selected here. So you're going to want to select in your preferred DNS server or your alternate DNS server. Google is 8.8.8.8 and 4.4.4.4. If you want, you can just type in what I have here on my screen. That'll work fine for you. You could just select validate settings upon exit, but you don't really need to if it works fine. You don't really need to worry about anything here. So you can select OK. There may be an apply button here that you need to select, but you don't really need to worry about that for now. So we're going to close that out. And now that we've actually flushed the DNS resolver cache, one of the things that we're going to do is going to release the IP address, and then we're going to renew the IP address. So we're going to start with this. So you're going to want to type into the command prompt ipconfig/release. This may take a moment depending on how long or how fast your computer is, but don't be alarmed, your internet connection will drop while you're doing this. So you're going to want to go ahead and you're going to want to type ipconfig/renew. So it even took a little bit of time on my computer. So you can see the internet actually just returned here. Alright, so this is one of the things that I usually like to do. There's a little bit more that you can do here. I do recommend you run through and you troubleshoot. You try to ping www.google.ca. If your DNS servers aren't working, there's not going to be a reply here. It will just say, lost packets, sent for, received 0, lost for, kind of thing. That's what you'll see here. So it's just going to be lost packets here if your DNS server isn't working. But it could also mean that your internet's not working. So what you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to ping 8.8.8.8. So that's Google's DNS servers. You can easily ping that if you like. I mean, the address is always going to be there. Basically what DNS does is it translates the IP address, which is, your 192.168 whatever address, and translate it to something that is readable to you, and vice versa. So, Google might be 256.192 whatever, but how do you get there? You don't type in the IP address for google.ca or YouTube or Facebook. Instead, what you do is you just type in www.google.ca and you're there. So basically, if the DNS servers are down and your internet's still up, that means you're going to want to change your DNS server settings to something else. So the way you find that out is you ping 8.8.8.8 or 8.8.8.8, yeah, that's right, number of 8s. So you're just going to select enter. And basically if you get a response here, that means your internet still is up, your network's not a problem, your computer's not a problem. The only thing that is a problem is that your DNS servers are not working for whatever reason, That isn't something that you really need to worry about too much. If you are using your ISP's DNS servers, I do recommend you go to whatever your ISP's website is to launch a complaint, or you call them up and you say, hey, at 9:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is my address, this is my account. There was a problem with the DNS servers, and this is how I found out. So you can just basically have them pass that information along to the systems administrator, and what the systems administrator will do is they'll check the DNS servers to see if there's any problems that caused it. Maybe there's a power failure or something and they need to get an APC backup for their server. So one of the other things that you can do is you can try resetting the TCP IP stack. I can't exactly remember what the command is for this, but sometimes I just randomly start typing in stuff. I think it's int IP reset. No, it's can't remember what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna Google it. Reset TCP IP stack. So you can find a command here. Just open whatever. And then here's the command. Oh yes, it's the net shell, so you want to use netsesh, I can't say that properly. You don't need to worry about the reset log, but you can just you can do a reset log just in case, because you know, if there's ever a problem, you can just tell them that you reset your TCP/IP stack when you bring it into a local computer shop, and you can just say, you know, there's a reset log that saved on my C drive. Could you check it out? You know, it might give some way to what might give you some hints as to, you know, what the problem is. So a lot of us actually don't do that, you know. Not everyone does, you know, it depends on the problem. But I know a lot of people actually just do go ahead and they run the repair utilities, because, you know, it's going to repair a lot of extra stuff, and, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And, you know, if you end up removing malware and you end up doing all this extra stuff for a customer, you know, they're not going to be back in 2 weeks complaining that, you know, you didn't fix the issue. That's a lot of the problems that computer people run into, is that, or PC support really, I should say, run into, is that the users don't really understand the processes that go through, you know, how complex an operating system or a computer is, you know. They think, you know, post hoc ergo propter hoc, you know, first before then after or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my mind, but they think, you know, they brought their computer to repair shop, you know, you fixed it, and then they brought it back, and then there was a problem, so by virtue of just events lining up, you're the one who caused the problem. So you're going to want to go ahead and you're going to run netsesh int IP reset, and just run it like this if you want, but I do recommend you do a log. So c:\reset log.txt. I do believe I actually do have reset log already on my computer, so I'm not going to go ahead and do this. So you can just rename it to anything you want. Reset log 100.txt. Just keep in mind though, I don't know necessarily if this is pertinent for Windows 10, but if you do go ahead and want to put spaces, you know, put in login random. You're going to want to make sure that you do have quotation marks here. It may not be pertinent for Windows 10, but you know, so it'll tell you, you know, resetting global, okay, resetting interface, okay, resetting neighbor, okay, resetting path, okay, and I'll just say resetting failed. I usually do run into that a lot. I'm not necessarily sure why it's doing that. It does say access is denied, so you know that's probably the reason why, but it'll tell you that you want to restart your computer to complete the action. You don't need to right away, but I of course do recommend that you do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close out of my web browser here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close out of this here. But if you want just to close this, if you just want to clear this window, you can just type CLS. Alright, you can just exit out of here. And then you can go ahead and you can start and shut down. Well, thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on Windows. Actually, you know what? There's one more thing that I thought about. Besides the malware and besides what we've already covered, is the drivers. So you're going to want to go to your device mangler. So device manager, just open that up, type it into your search. You're going to find the network adapters over here. Let me just make this bigger here. So network adapters right here. So you can just maximize this, and this is going to be the Realtek PCIe GBE family controller. So again, how you determine which one that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go here. You're going to go to you can go to your control panel. Oops, that's the MSI Control Center. Don't want to open that up. Then you're going to want to go to not here. So you're going to want to go to Network and Internet. You're going to want to go to Network and Sharing Center. You're going to change adapter settings, and you're going to find the local area connection, which is the Realtek PCIe GBE family controller, and that'll be the one that's right here too. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close these out here because we don't need them open. Alright, so you can just go here, you can disable, and then you can view, let me see here. You can scan for hardware changes, that's what I think you do. You don't want to delete it entirely, but this sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. What I do recommend is you go to the Realtek website and you download the driver. I always just make sure, I have a copy of a good, well-known driver that I have, something that I know will work, and I make sure that I have it on my computer, on my desktop. So if there's ever an issue, I can just run an installer for the driver, and we're good to go. That's ever if Device Wrangler for whatever reason doesn't want to work out, because it could be the problem with a source file or the installer files or just the files in general for the network adapters being a problem there. So you just want to make sure that you are covering all the bases. Anyways, we basically covered everything here that I think I want to cover for this video. Again, there could be issues, your Ethernet cable is unplugged or you disconnected from your Wi-Fi. You're obviously going to want to check that out first, because you don't want to sit here for 5-10 minutes diagnosing problems with Windows when you can just look right over here beside your desk and you can see that it's unplugged. So you can try restarting your router and your modem. I usually start with the network first. I start with resetting. I start with just checking all the wires. I make sure that everything's plugged in properly. I go to my switch, I go to my router, go to my computer, make sure all the Ethernet cables are plugged in properly, and then I go to the router/modems and I make sure that they're all restarted, and yeah, that usually works. One important thing to mention is that routers will die out on you pretty fast. Basically, you're getting a computer out of it. You're getting a cheap $20, $30 computer. You can't really expect that to perform exceptionally well. So I always recommend, every couple months, sometimes they run out, a month later or 3 months later. So, I recommend you replace your modem every couple months. Asus is a company that usually does a fairly good job at decent consumer grade routers, but like anything, it's a bit more expensive, but you are getting a little bit better quality out of the product in general, and you may even get a little bit better speeds. Another thing to note is that if your modem is crapping out, and if you have to restart your modem just to be able to achieve full internet speed or to be able to return your network connection, call your ISP immediately. Just do it, and ask them to come down here, tell them that you've troubleshooted everything else in the network is absolutely fine, and all that you want to do is you want them to replace the modem. They should do it for free. They don't always do it for free. If you have a modem rental, they should do it for free. Most people just rent the modem because it's only a couple bucks a month and it gets replaced, whenever they want it to. If there is like a local store in the mall or something like that, Bell, Rogers, they usually have stores in malls. They do have stocks of old modems or newer modems that need to be replaced. They have refurbished ones, they have new ones. So just bring your old router in there, or your old modem in there, and say, hey, I'm having an issue with my modem. It keeps causing me problems. I have to constantly restart it all the time, and I'm constantly losing my work because of it. The internet keeps going down, it keeps dragging its speed, it keeps going to insanely slow speeds. Can you guys please replace this? And I've done this before, personally. I went into the shop and they're just like, yeah, here's another one. You just gotta make sure that you bring in your old one for me, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's basically all that you really have to do for now. There's more advanced stuff that I can help you get into for networking, but for just a home user, it's not really much that you're gonna need to be concerned about right now. So I guess this is it for now. Thank you guys very much for watching. This is in fact the end of the video, so thank you very much, And if you have any questions or comments, if you want to know a little bit more, if I wasn't necessarily clear on something, then feel free to tell me, you know. I'm glad to rephrase it in another manner, and I'm glad to help you out. If there is any issues in a video, please tell me. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Thank you very much. Have a good day. I'm just gonna stop this recording here.